Hello, it's Delia. Thanks for clicking on. So, I wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit about abundance and this very cool tool that you can start using at home. Try this at home and just notice what happens. So, as usual with the tools, the way I like to do things, I like to give you something that you can try at home. And the more you use the tool or technique or process, the stronger the muscle gets, right? Because this is all about building spiritual muscles and creative muscles and manifesting, actualizing muscles. So the thing about abundance is, how have we heard that? So um, when you live in the regular world, the regular reality that we're all watching kind of crumble around us, the ideas are lack and injustice and unfairness and inequity, and you can work really hard and not be able to support yourself. There's just a lot, and it isn't that any of these things are not true from a physical level, from a body personality level, from the agreements of how society is functioning these days. They are true. And if you don't opt into them, if you don't live them as truth with a capital T, then things can start to change for you. And that's a big concept. And there's lots and lots of talk and conversation and books and movies, all kinds of stuff around that. But we're just going to do something very simple here on this particular episode. And the more you're building the muscle of lusciousness, of havingness, of abundance, the more you're going to experience those things, right? You've heard the thing about what you think about manifests, and there's some version of how you spend this, your brainiac, um, has something to do with what happens to you, right? So your beliefs create your reality. Your thoughts create your reality. Um, the stories that you tell yourself create your reality. All those things are true. And what if you could change them? Which, of course, you can. I know it often doesn't feel like you can, but you actually do have the power. That's your capacity, as one of your many capacities. So, what would that look like? Now, the homework that I've been giving people the longest, that it gets the most resistance, and it's never like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. It's always like, oh, I forgot to do that again. That's the kind of resistance this particular tool gets. And the tool is very simple. It's at the end of the day, you write down 5 things you did right today, and then 5 things you appreciate about today. So, 5 things you did right can be things that you didn't do. Let's say um, you have a habit of running late, and out of 3 out of 5 events that you need to be at, meetings, calls, whatever, you get there a little late. So one of the things that you did right today could be that you weren't late to one of them, or it could be that you were late but you didn't beat yourself up. So 5 things that you appreciate about you today are things that matter to you, that you think you're doing the things that you value, that you tell yourself you value and want to have more of in your life. So the example of not beating yourself up. This is a very potent thing to get the hang of, to not beat yourself up. Beating yourself up is supposed to do, we all believe this, the nonsense about it's going to make you this or that or that. It doesn't do any of those things. All it does is wear you down and make you feel crappy. So, anyway, your 5 things that you did right today are towards how you want your life to be. So that can include speaking up for yourself when you normally don't, or being quiet when you normally aren't, right? It's anything that you're doing in the course of your day that is one step towards how you want your life to be. Sometimes people don't want to do the 5 things you did right today because um, it's no big deal. And I would invite you to start making it a big deal. So if you have things in your day that you have categorized as no big deal, but you've committed to yourself that you're going to write down 5 things you did right today at the end of the day, then you get to redefine what a big deal is, which will serve you considerably. So play with 5 things you did right today. And the other one is 5 things you appreciate today. So, sometimes you're driving someplace and you catch all the lights, but you're really kind of distracted because you need to be there, whatever. And so you don't really appreciate the fact that you're catching all the lights, right? Um, so have the list of 5 things you appreciate about today kind of remind you to start appreciating things. Um, Another example is like watching the sunset or the sunrise. And you know how there's days when you can watch the sunrise or the sunset and go, yeah, that's nice. But there's other days where you're like, oh my God, you just really appreciate it, right? Or the smell of coffee in the morning. Sometimes it's no big deal and sometimes it's really yummy. So finding 5 things about today that you really appreciate, and then 5 things about you that you did today that you really appreciate, right? So you end every day with a list of 10 things. And I recommend that you try doing this for 10 days. And if if you forget for a day or two, just start doing it again. But the more you are writing down a list, for one thing, you're taking the time. You're demonstrating to yourself because you're taking the time and space, which are how body registers things, to get a piece of paper, have a notebook, and write down. So you want to write it down, not type it. Um, there's different things that happen biochemically and electromagnetically when you type versus when you write. And for the best potency, try writing. It won't take long. And at the beginning, it might be challenging. And if it's challenging to think of 5 things you did right today, you can include things like you got up in the morning, or you put on street pants instead of sweatpants, covidity, or you brushed your teeth. It can be anything. But what it does is it starts you engaging in a different perspective of you and of your life. So um, the more you are validating and appreciating you and the things that are all around you, the more you're going to enjoy being in your skin and being in your life. And that right there is a great invitation to the universe to bring you more. So that is the invitation. It's to write a list of 5 things you did right today and 5 things you appreciate about today, and do it for 10 days and just see what happens. And come back. I'd love to read your comments in the notes. I'd appreciate that. And I appreciate you for being here. Okay, I will see you later.